Summer at the lake wasn't fancy. No hotels. No schedules. Just a cabin, a dock, and time that moved a little slower. Families packed the car, left the noise behind, and made their way to where life felt simple. Days were for swimming, fishing, and reading on the porch. Evenings meant board games, bug spray, and stories by the fire. This video isn't about facts, it's about how it felt. Those quiet, golden summers that shaped our memories. The ones that didn't need much to mean everything. Let's go back, not to escape but to remember. Part 1: The road to the lake. Getting there was part of the adventure. You loaded up the station wagon, suitcases, coolers, beach towels, and folding chairs, and hit the road. No GPS. Just a folded paper map and maybe Dad saying, "Let's see where this road goes." The windows were down. The air smelled like cut grass and warm pavement. The radio played Elvis, Patsy Cline, or the Beach Boys. Kids counted cows, pointed at cloud shapes, and asked, "Are we there yet?" every 15 minutes. You didn't rush. You stopped for ice cream, snapped a photo by a roadside sign, maybe fed ducks at a rest stop. The world felt bigger back then, but somehow more welcoming. And when the lake finally came into view, shimmering and wide, framed by trees, it felt like arriving in a little slice of heaven. Part 2: Life in the cabin. The cabins weren't fancy. They were simple, wooden, with squeaky screen doors and mismatched furniture. The beds creaked. The floors were cool under your bare feet. And every window held a view of water and trees. Mom unpacked groceries, bologna bread, Kool-Aid mix. Dad lit the grill or cast a line from the dock. Kids explored, catching frogs, skipping stones, building dams in tiny streams that ran between tree roots. There was no TV, no internet, and you didn't miss it. Nights were for card games, campfires, and stories that got funnier the later it got. The grown-ups sat on the porch with coffee. The kids roasted marshmallows until their fingers were sticky. That little cabin may have been small, but it held the whole world. Part 3: Days on the water. The lake was your playground. Mornings started early with the splash of someone diving in before breakfast. The air was cool, the water glassy and still. You learned to swim, paddle, float, and splash like your life depended on it. There were canoes, rowboats, old rubber rafts that leaked just a little. Fishing poles with bent hooks. Minnows darting in the shallows. Maybe a rope swing tied to a sturdy branch. Lunch was sandwiches on a picnic table, paper plates weighed down with potato chips, and maybe a slice of watermelon cold from the cooler. Sunburns were part of the deal. Pink shoulders, peeling noses, and nobody minded. The whole day smelled like lake water, sunscreen, and happiness. Part 4: Evenings that glowed. As the sun dipped low, the lake turned golden. Shadows stretched long. Towels hung from railings, bathing suits dried on porch railings. The grill sizzled with burgers or corn on the cob wrapped in foil. Fireflies came out just after dinner. Kids chased them across the yard while grown-ups sipped iced tea or maybe something stronger. Someone strummed a guitar. Someone else told a ghost story just scary enough to make you stick close to your siblings. There was a stillness in those evenings. The kind that let you hear your own heartbeat, feel the breeze on your arms, and know without question that this moment was special. You fell asleep to the hum of crickets and the distant plunk of water against the dock. And you dreamed in color, always blue, green, and golden. Part 5: Simple adventures. Every day held something new, not planned, just discovered. You hiked little trails with sandwiches packed in wax paper. Picked wildflowers for Mom. Found smooth stones and called them treasure. Sometimes you rode to the other side of the lake just because. Or you visited a little general store that smelled like penny candy and bug spray. You bought a slingshot or a comic book. Maybe a glass bottle of soda, icy and perfect. And when it rained, nobody complained. You played board games, read Archie comics, or just sat and listened as thunder rolled over the hills. Adventure didn't mean big. It meant together. Part 6: Saying goodbye. Eventually the week ended. You packed up sandy shoes and folded towels. The car was full of sleepy kids, leftover snacks, and souvenirs made of wood and string. Nobody really wanted to leave. You took one last walk down to the dock. You breathed in the lake air. And you promised quietly to remember this. And you did. Because even now, decades later, you can still feel it. That time. That place. That peace. Part 7: The Little General Store. Every lake had one. A small weathered shop just up the road, maybe with a Coca-Cola sign faded from the sun, a screen door that slammed behind you and creaky floorboards that told your story with every step. The general store had everything and nothing at once. A spinning rack of postcards, minnows in buckets, bug spray that smelled like lemon and fear, candy bars lined up in a glass case, bubble gum that lost its flavor too soon, but you loved it anyway. You could walk there barefoot, a dollar clutched in your hand, heart pounding like it was Christmas. You'd buy a bottle of orange soda, a jawbreaker, maybe a toy boat or a pack of trading cards. You always ran into someone you knew, another family from the cabins or the man who ran the boat rentals. Behind the counter, the clerk knew your name. She asked if your sunburn was feeling better or if the fish were biting today. And even if she didn't, she made you feel like she did. The general store wasn't about shopping. It was about being. Wandering the aisles slowly, letting time stretch out, finding something small and silly and wonderful, and knowing that for just a moment life didn't need to be big to feel full. Part 8. Fishing with Grandpa. Early mornings. A soft knock on the cabin door. Grandpa whispering, "Let's go." The world still quiet, the lake covered in mist. You pulled on your hoodie, grabbed your pole, and tiptoed out into the magic. Fishing wasn't about catching. It was about sitting, waiting, listening. Birds calling from the trees. Water rippling against the rowboat. Grandpa humming an old tune, half remembered, half made up. He showed you how to bait a hook, how to sit still, how to know when to reel in and when to just enjoy the moment. He talked, but not too much. About the old days. About how he used to fish with his dad. About life and how you don't always need to chase it. Sometimes it comes to you if you just sit long enough. You watched the bobber float. Sometimes it moved. Sometimes it didn't. And it didn't matter. What mattered was being there. Just you and him, the lake, and time that didn't tick. It drifted. And if you were lucky, you came back with a small fish and a big story. If not, you still came back with something even better. A memory that would last forever. Part 9. Storms over the water. Not every day was sunny. Sometimes the clouds rolled in slow and dark, curling over the trees like a warning in the sky. The wind picked up. The leaves whispered louder. Somewhere across the lake, thunder growled. And then the rain came, not like in the city, but big, wild, full of life. It drummed on the cabin roof, pelted the windows, turned the world into a symphony of sound. But no one panicked. You stayed inside, wrapped in blankets, listening. Someone made hot chocolate. The grown-ups played cards. The kids sat on the floor, drawing, reading, or watching the storm like it was a movie. The lake churned. Lightning flashed. The dock disappeared into the mist. When the storm passed, and it always did, the world felt new. The air smelled cleaner. The trees dripped quietly. You'd run outside barefoot, jumping in puddles, the last rumbles of thunder echoing in the hills. Those storms taught you something. Beauty isn't just in sunshine. Sometimes it's in the wildness, the waiting, the way the world feels when it stops and lets the rain wash over it. Part 10. The last night at the lake. There was always one last night. You knew it. Everyone did. There was a quietness to it, not sad, not heavy, just full. Full of everything you'd done, everything you'd felt, everything you didn't want to forget. Dinner was a little slower. Laughter a little softer. Someone brought out sparklers or lit a small fire by the shore. You sat close. You talked less. You watched the sky turn dark, knowing tomorrow the lake would stay but you'd be gone. You walked down to the dock one last time. Let your toes touch the water. Looked out across the glassy surface and promised you'd be back. Maybe next summer. Maybe not. But this moment, this feeling, would come with you. The cabin lights glowed behind you. The voices of family drifted through the night air. Crickets chirped their steady song. And overhead the stars came out, bright and quiet, like the lake itself was saying goodbye. You went to sleep that night not wanting to leave but grateful that you came. Because summer at the lake wasn't just a trip. It was a part of you now. Some memories don't fade, they just wait. They wait in the sound of a loon calling across the lake. In the shimmer of sunlight on water. In the soft creak of a cabin floor at night. Summer at the lake wasn't about doing everything. It was about feeling something. Stillness. Joy. Togetherness. The kind you can't plan or buy, only live. Maybe we can't go back, but we can remember. and sometimes that's more than enough. So wherever you are tonight, close your eyes, hear the water, feel the breeze, and let those golden days drift gently back to you.